Good evening and welcome into another edition of the R&R Sports Report. I'm your host, Randy Isbell. With me, as always, Mr. Robert Hagan. And
I just tried to kill you, didn't I?
You did. If it wasn't for the Celtic performers trying to, it was you. Right?
I was. Let me show it off a little bit here. I'm for some reason I was in my drawer earlier today and I found my old class ring, and so I put on my class ring this morning,
and then you punched me with it.
And then I hit a couple of kids today.
You hit a couple. Hold on, let's
fist bumping. Let me clarify that fist bumping today. And got a couple of them with my emerald, and so not trying to hurt anybody.
You hurt me.
Well, it doesn't take much.
And yes, so we do apologize if you were enjoying the Celtic performers doing all the Christmas music. We got some sports to talk about. We're going to have a lot of fun today. We're back in the studio after being nearly dead. How are you? Did you not put in your ears today?
I did not.
God. I'm over here like turning my stuff down because it's so loud in my ears, and you're begging for me to turn it up. Is that good for you?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
that sounds
I appreciate it. Gosh. All right.
I'm needy. I'm needy.
That's true. On today's show, the sad thing is I don't barely hear myself, and there we go.
There you go.
On today, what are we doing today? We're doing all sorts of stuff. Can you tell the semester is coming to an end? We're starting to get into that winter break feeling. I am. I know you're not because you go to the junior high stuff.
I know. Listen, I think I figured it out. You and I figured it out when we walked into this room.
Mm-hmm.
It is freezing.
It's so cold.
And it's got to your brain already.
Something's got to my brain. So it's just maybe my brain is not where my brain
cold
should be
here
today. Obviously, we're going to talk about week 13 of the NFL.
Can't believe it's already 13 weeks. You and I just talked about 13 weeks.
It's going far too fast. Quarterbacks moving places. Quarterbacks are injured. It's going to be a complete mess. We'll see what it does to our power rankings.
Yep.
High school basketball is in full swing, so we will hit on some of the teams. College football, regular season is now done. Conference championships are now done.
And your favorite time of year,
where 2/3 of the league continues to play. We'll get into that because bowl games matter, people, except for the 87% of the people that just entered the transfer portal.
Oh my God. I didn't even put that on the notes of
because you couldn't fit them.
I thought about it because I looked at last year's, and there was over 1,000 athletes last year that entered the transfer portal. That's just nuts.
Yeah, I have no problem with the transfer portal, but I'm going to wait. Teaser too in a little bit when I'll go on the rant. I've wanted to go on a rant multiple times, just bringing up bowls. I used to love the bowl season.
Yeah.
And they've ruined it. They've absolutely ruined it. LC was in action for both the men's and women's basketball team. Golf got an award. We'll talk about that. Got some wrestling to talk about as well. As not only the basketball season started in high school, but wrestling as well. We will talk about the sad results of our pick'em for the high school and college side. Once again, you're just crushing me in the NFL. It's just getting sad. MLB, winter meetings are going on. So we're getting all of the free agents starting to sign a couple trades. Seattle's making some interesting moves. I am refreshing Twitter like a madman right now. I was going to say,
should you preface the idea if you get sidetracked and see something happen with Aaron Judge that
I might need a 3-second delay just in case. They had that tease earlier about Aaron Judge going to the Giants, and then one of the experts, I forget which one, John Heyman maybe, when he tweeted it out, misspelled Aaron and put Arson Judge. So now that has taken over all of my Twitter, is talking about Arson Judge going and burning up San Francisco, and Baseball Reference has already changed Aaron Judge's name to Arson Judge, or at least they did for a little bit. It's great. It's fantastic. So we're going to get into all of that and a bit more, but the World Cup is going on, and neither of us are big soccer people, but the World Cup is very fun.
Yeah, I did get up and watch a little soccer. What was it, Saturday morning? So spent last little bit. Yeah,
you got it. The soccer sounds.
Yep, and watched a little bit of USA.
What?
As they barely even scored one goal against the Netherlands, but it was a good run for them this year, where they actually made it to the elimination rounds, which is a plus.
Honestly, U.S. fans, that's all we should ask for.
Right.
This is not a soccer country.
No, and far from it.
So us just making even the round of 16 is good.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because from everything that I've heard from watching these games, is the U.S. had a very young team. So I think they performed really well. It is still weird to me to watch soccer games, and especially the U.S. games, and both teams are going at it and going crazy. One team will score a goal, and it flips the game on its head for two reasons. One, because there's not a lot of scoring in soccer, so one goal is a big difference. But two, both teams completely change the way they play.
Mm-hmm.
The team that scored all of a sudden just goes on this weird, we don't really want to push anymore, we're just going to defend, which makes the other team look like they're so much better because they're the ones being aggressive and going all out for it. U.S. got bit by that in their first game, where they had the lead and ended up with a tie because they give up a late goal because they weren't pushing anymore. So I even said that the U.S. really needed to,
maybe they're replaying the goals,
the one goal that U.S. had, that the U.S. could not have an early lead,
right?
Because then they would back off and kind of lose that momentum. They almost scored in like the first 5 minutes of that game. Mm-hmm. Then they give up a goal to the Netherlands pretty early. Fought back. We're playing okay. Had a couple chances there in the first half. Give up a goal on the last kick possible there in the first half. And then the game at that point was about done. They had some great chances still and got it back to 2-1 before giving up that third goal, which essentially ended their run. But it's a good run for the U.S., and we will kind of see who wins, because now we're down to 8 teams.
Yeah, and I think I'm like you, though. You make a great point. They're young. And that's the biggest part of, if you're a U.S. soccer fan, that's the biggest thing that you can look forward to, is they're going to be good in the next couple of years. And, I've had the conversation, and I was sharing this with you before we came on the air, that one of the teachers I work with is from England. And so have known him for many years. I went into his room today, in the last 2 days, actually, and really talked to him. I'm like, well, who do you like? Who do you like here? What do you like? Mm-hmm. Because we ended up talking a little bit about USA going against Netherlands on Friday, and looking at it. He says that the European teams play totally different from like the teams from Portugal, Morocco, Brazil. That one is more a finesse type of thing, and I think mm-hmm. If I remember right, he said the Europeans are more physical, hard hitting, go get them. Mm-hmm. As in the other teams, from Brazil and all that, they're more finesse. They can control every part mm-hmm. of the aspect. And so, I flat asked him, I said, who do you like? I mean, now that we're down to these 8 teams, mm-hmm. and we'll talk about them here really quick. Croatia will take on Brazil on Friday morning. Netherlands will take on Argentina on that side of the bracket. You look at the other side of the bracket with Saturday games. Morocco takes on Portugal, and then England and France battle each other on Saturday. There's a couple of great games that I hate to say this, I'm excited to get up and go and watch for a while.
7 a.m. is a little early. I'll probably games
right
on those weeks, and we will see where it goes. Who do you got?
With talking with Alfred and Mike Alfred, who has even played a little bit over there in England. Him and I talked a lot. I'm going to take Brazil, I think.
Because that's what he's taking?
Well, no, he was actually going where you're going and taking the other one.
We will. We'll get to the NFL talk, Robert. Calm down.
Taylor.
I think Brazil is very, very good. I'm going to take Portugal. They scored like 6 goals today. And Ronaldo wasn't even starting because he's having issues with his coach, I guess. I don't know what's going on. There's drama.
It was 4-0 at the one point that I looked.
Yeah, whatever. So there you go. We'll see where they're standing. We'll know the 2 teams in the finals by next week, right? Because Tuesday is the semis.
One semi is on Tuesday. One is on Wednesday.
So we'll be down to 3 teams by our next show. Before we get to the NFL talk, we got a couple more things to touch on. Friend of the show, Brian McElroy, is now 2-0 as a professional fighter, 5-0 overall with amateur fighting as well. Drake Randall, now 2-0 as he had his first fight just a couple weeks ago. Now he's a champion.
Yep.
I had somebody ask me what he was a light heavyweight championship that Drake won.
Yeah.
And he goes, what light heavyweight champion? I go, the like, I don't know, because they just throw it's a title that they made to promote the show.
Yeah.
And you can defend it, and the Muckleshoot
Muckleshoot
light heavyweight
Casino,
champion, I guess. But
And
congratulations to both of those. Two completely different fights.
Yeah, they were great to watch. I don't know if you had a chance to go back on our page and watch them, but I did go back, and Bryce, why am I drawing a blank? Bryce Wyatt, also part of the Martial Arts America group, the Team Execution. They are he was over there watching the matches and live streamed them, so it was kind of nice to be able to watch it with him, and so as he was filming. So hats off, congratulations to both those guys, and can't wait to see when the next one. There's got to be another one getting close somewhere, Spokane or something a little bit closer. There's no way I was going to drive across the state of Washington on Friday the way things looked.
Now, obviously, I wouldn't expect Brian to be in these fights, but I know the last time I talked to Austin about his plans is he was possibly eyeing January.
Right.
And obviously, I don't think Brian would be part of that card, but maybe other people from the Arnett group would be traveling with him. We will see. And they've been nice enough to kind of keep us in the loop for the most part there. Also want to congratulate another big friend of the show, Alicia Alexander. Very cool for her. She was inducted to the College Sports Communicators 30 under 30 class of 2022. And I just have to say right now, I'm a big kind of funny fan. I don't know if you've ever watched their YouTube channels or do more gaming side stuff, but they have some silly podcasts that go with movies and TV shows and everything. And two of those members of Kind of Funny have been on the Forbes 30 under 30. So when she announced, or when LC announced that she had won this, that's all I can think about is because they always like start their podcast with crazy nicknames, and 30 under 30 is
what was
underneath it. Now that's Alicia.
Yeah, and it was kind of cool when, yes, her name starts with an A, but it was kind of cool. The very first one you open up in that article is her. And then you look at some of these other ones. I think there was somebody from, I want to say Purdue, that made the list. There's some big colleges, and Alicia's in that top part of the 30. So
now, obviously, I don't see what other SID people do like outside of the Cascade Conference, but just like getting to work for the volleyball team and doing some basketball stuff and seeing the stuff I get from other colleges, from other SIDs or non-existent SIDs. Alicia's just head and shoulders over all of them. And I get spoiled with information, or if we need guests, I can message her Tuesday morning, and usually by noon I have confirmations on the guests that I wanted and or other options if those weren't available. So she's always been fantastic, and now she'll be my boss here in a couple months.
Yeah,
so there you go. All right, let's get into it. Robert has been impatiently waiting. Let's get into the NFL, and let's start with the game of the week. And no, I am not talking about the Kansas City Chiefs.
No, it was not.
And the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm talking about the up and down roller coaster that my New York Jets put me on, because I'm a homer, and we're going to talk about my team, because that first half was atrocious for a Jets fan. However, it also got me to that point of being able to go, what's he saying?
It's Haley this time.
Haley is too old for 30 under 30. Yeah, me too. I'm almost too old for 40 under 40.
I'm gonna be the new 50. Isn't 50 the new 30?
I don't know. I really don't know anymore. But no, the Jets were down 20-3 late in the first half, and it got to that point where it's like, well, Jets are not up for a really good team like the Vikings. They can upset Buffalo, but that's a division matchup.
Right.
So be it. I'm not going to be too upset about it. It's just one of those games. And then Greg Zuerlein kicks a 60-yard field goal near the end of the first half, which was good from 87 yards. I don't know if you've seen this kick.
It
was.
We had that game right next to mine, so we were.
It was a straight line drive that was like 15, 20 feet over the crossbar. I really want to see the StatCast or whatever the super analytics is of how far that would have been
AWS. All right, AWS, get on.
I really want to know because he crushed it. So, all right, 26, 2-score game. Defense started finally showing up.
I still think you have one of the better defenses.
Oh, I
in
agree.
The league.
I mean, they struggled in the first half. Second half, they completely shut down Minnesota. It was great. But they shut them down.
Mm-hmm.
Jets go right down the field, get into the red zone, and kick a field goal. And it's 20-9. And then it's 20-12. And then it's just too much. Just too many guys. I think it went to 20-15, right? Did we get one more field goal in there before Minnesota then scores a touchdown? And then you're like, all right, now it's over. All right, it was a nice little run. Jets couldn't score. Minnesota went down, finally got the touchdown. Justin Jefferson finally got his touchdown against this secondary. I even told people at the Tribune that it's like, what would be a good day for the Jets secondary with Justin Jefferson? I was like, 6 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown. Well, 7 catches, 45 yards, and a touchdown. They're pretty good. Yeah. Jets go right down the field and score a touchdown. Now I'm back into this game. Then they stop Minnesota, and twice they have the ball in the red zone and can't score. Like there's a force field on the end zone of Minnesota. Just absolutely drove me nuts. Can we please get a good goal line play? The only touchdown they get is Mike White getting a centimeter of the football across the line that they were able to overturn it. Just, it was so heartbreaking and so frustrating in a game that 2 hours before, I'm like, all right, we're going to lose and no big deal. But they drew me back in. Garrett Wilson, though, he's a dude. 8 catches, 162 yards. Should have had a touchdown, but he's got too big of feet. Just saying. What are your thoughts on this game?
It was exciting to watch that and to be back and forth and trying to watch my game and watch that game and that's one thing that really sometimes bites me in the butt because I'm watching both everything that's trying to happen in all the games, and so it's a little on the rough side, but Garrett Wilson. Could he be that number one that is going to be, I'm going to say this, a new Tyreek Hill? I really think he can. It just needs to get the quarterback situation all figured out. That would be the biggest thing.
Another game we got to talk about. Robert Hagen's favorite thing in the whole wide world.
Nothing like chasing them around on sheets all year long.
Commanders and the Giants, they tied 20-20. But to be honest, I think that's a good thing, especially for the Giants. So here's what I forget. Again, I listen to so many different YouTube clips of different radio shows throughout the week. A lot of them are New York based because I'm a Jets fan. So then they talk about the Giants a lot. Maybe it was the Boomer Esiason, Boomer and
who is doing that with him now?
Boomer, anybody out there that knows, it should be CBS was on there. And
Phil Sim? No,
it's just another radio guy. But they were talking about it's great for the Giants because they were losing the tiebreaker to the Seahawks because they lost to the Seahawks earlier. Well, guess what? Now you're not going to tie with the Seahawks ever with the record, so that tiebreaker's out the window. Just trying to get a silver lining on the tie before you go on your little rant.
I hate chasing that around. That's all I do is chase it around all Geo. That's a Boomer and Geo. I had to think about it for a minute. I had to look it up. So, yeah, I mean, every time I see the tie and then I relive this year's, Lovie Smith not being aggressive in that first game, it reminds me of my favorite clip, and I know you have it. You play to win.
I don't have it on here, actually. Yet.
I thought you had it on there. I thought you played it last week to me, but listen,
maybe I didn't save it.
You play to win the game. If we're not gonna come up with a winner after 10 minutes, all right, then let's Let's do it like we do in college. Put it at the 25. First one to put it in there and each have a possession. I mean, you can't keep doing this of half game here, half game there.
You play to win the game.
There you go.
You don't play to just play it.
Exactly. You play to win the game. And
They don't in soccer.
But they have penalty kicks.
What would you do as far as penalty kicks for
Line Justin
NFL?
Tucker. Let's go. Line Justin Tucker up, and we're just gonna keep dropping back 5 yards every time. Put it in the middle. Yeah.
I did think about that watching Morocco and who did they beat? Spain today.
Mm-hmm.
Watching their penalty kicks. Like, we used to have an overtime in our bowling league, which I just train wreck because people can't add. But I started thinking about it. I was like, instead of doing our 10 frame roll off like we were doing, why don't we do a strike off? Like penalty kick.
Morocco scored 3 in the penalty kicks.
Yeah, they didn't give up one. That was the big thing.
Yep.
Is our goalie stopped all 3. But yeah, that was a tie. It should make things interesting as the Seahawks survive a close game against a team that they should have crushed. But give Geno Smith credit. Made a nice comeback, nice last little drive there for the Seahawks. And now the Seahawks are the 7th seed in the NFC. So you have to give them credit there.
Yeah, I mean, Geno's been putting up some huge numbers, and that's so impressive. 367 to get sacked 4 times. So that, the team, Bobby Wagner came out playing quite hard for the Rams. And so I hate saying this. I mean, you and I were on the Rams this year to end up winning that division, and we were so hard on Seattle.
Did I have the Rams winning the division?
I think we both had the Rams winning the division. But Seattle though, that's the. I'm still shocked, but I think the main.
I did.
Yeah, I thought we both did, but I think for me on the Seattle Seahawks right now has been Walker the last couple. A few weeks ago
he's going to be consistently on the bench because he's hurt.
On the burn, yeah. But what is it? 3 games in a row that he was less than. And I know he's hurt now, but I mean, you go from being this big stud nobody could stop to now all of a sudden you've been figured out within a short time.
San Francisco defeats Miami 33-17. Not something that we expected at the first play of this game.
No.
Trent Sherfield with a 75-yard touchdown reception from Tua. Miami jumps out to a 7-0 lead, and then he goes out, which they thought was going to be for the year. Now it's just out for the regular season and maybe some of the playoffs. They're saying, 7 weeks? So if the 49ers can make a run, he might be able to come back. NFC Championship game somewhere in there. So that's interesting.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Brock Purdy looked okay against Miami. Will he be able to hold things together enough for the 49ers?
You watched a few of his passes, especially his 2 touchdown passes that he had, one to McCaffrey and Kyle Husek, former Raven. Just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, I mean, he went to a team that could score touchdowns.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about that. But the thing about it, his enthusiasm was just crazy. You watch him after throwing both of those touchdowns; he was crazy nuts.
Oh yeah.
How does he rein that in? I think he's got to rein it in a little bit because he's going to be the guy for the next couple of weeks. But I think what's going to help them out is the smartest thing that they did by getting. McCaffrey.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to become over the next couple of weeks the Christian McCaffrey show. What can him and can we get the short passes like they were saying, Purdy to just drop quick slants or little 10-yard hooks, something short, intermediate range passes. You don't want to open up the huge playbook for a guy that is we're down to the final 5 weeks. I mean, that's a lot for him to drop in there. I think him not getting all, the relationship of throwing the ball to these guys on, how many times have he taken the first team snaps?
Very little.
And so that's where it's going to end up boiling down to is it's going to be how can I get these consistently here,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's what's going to end up being. Look for George Kittle to get, I think, a lot more.
I think Kittle will be a lot. McCaffrey will be a lot. They'll start doing Debo out of the backfield again.
Mm-hmm.
I think the 49ers might be okay, but give it a week or two to see. Semi-breaking news is, again, I'm refreshing Twitter like a madman to see if Judge ends up going anywhere.
I haven't looked at mine.
Why? I don't think Taiwan Walker's that good.
I don't think so anymore either. I mean,
the Phillies just signed him a 4-year, $72 million contract.
That's nuts.
I don't understand that. All right. One more game before we get to our fun, goofy stuff. And of course, it is Cincinnati Bengals defeating the Kansas City Chiefs 27 to 24. Robert Taylor was so mad at me for picking Cincinnati. You thought it was just me trying to catch up. And that's part of it. It's like a lot of the 50-50s, I tried to figure out where you might go and go the opposite. But I had a strong feeling with Jamar Chase coming back. Yes, Cincinnati beat them 2 times in a row. It did feel a little impossible that they were going to be able to win 3 times in a row against this really good Chiefs team. But the Bengals have been trending upwards for sure. And as Robert Taylor had posted on his Facebook afterwards, for whatever reason, the Cincinnati Bengals just have the Kansas City Chiefs number right now. But as much as I think Mr. Taylor thinks I'm going to rib on his team, this is one of those games between 2 really good teams in the regular season that proves nothing come January. If these 2 teams meet again, well, the only things that would matter is if Cincinnati can at least tie Kansas City in the record, and now the game comes in Cincinnati instead of Arrowhead. So, I mean, it matters in that point. But they won in November. Or December now. But it doesn't matter come January because this wasn't like Cincinnati dominated by any means. They had to come back to win this game. And it's just 2 heavyweights going at it. One team has to win. And in this case, it was Cincinnati. I might still pick Kansas City come January if they meet again.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great game overall, all hands down. Honestly, I didn't think Jamar Chase was going to have as many yards as he did. I only figured him maybe 50, have him be the first game back in 5 weeks. P. Ryan, I mean,
P. Ryan was really good.
He was really good. He ran the ball quite well. And then I'm not trying to bash on Kansas City, but Travis Kelce lose the ball. I mean,
those are
just fluke things.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a heck of a game, very competitive. A lot of offense in the second half. I mean, both giving up 27 points that are scored in the second half between both teams. It's going to be one of those matchups that is going to be heavyweight boxers for the next couple of years, and I like it.
It's one of those things that you see that, especially that happens in the NFL, because it's a once a week thing. So a game happens, and then we have all week to talk about it, or usually we take 2-3 days to talk about it, and then we start looking towards the next week. But it's because we have all that time where it's like, oh, well, Cincinnati just must be so much better than Kansas City because they won by 3 points. There's so many games in the NFL that you flip one play and the outcome of the game would have been different. One play. Yet, even though it only took one play for a team to beat the other team, us talking heads go out there and come out, oh, they're so much better. No, they just were able to win that one play. Minnesota won that one play. Well, several plays at the red zone. But if the Jets just score one extra time in their 6 red zone trips, the Jets beat the Vikings. And then is a completely different narrative. Kelce doesn't fumble that ball or several other different things. One of those change. Chiefs beat the Bengals, and then the narrative is completely different. It's not going to be the case when we get to the Cowboys and Colts game. But if we just go, if the game ended after 3 quarters in that game, the narrative would have been a lot different between the Cowboys and Colts. But instead, we talk about how the Cowboys crushed the Colts. So that's the fun about football. They're so the margin of victory is so narrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yet at the end of the day, we make it this huge difference between the two teams.
And it even, and you say it narrow. Yeah, yes, there are some college teams that I would put up against, like the Houston Texans.
I would not. I mean, we'll talk about that in a second.
But what I'm trying to divert to is there's a lot of people that get so set on their own team instead of watching the entire picture. Does that make sense? I mean,
yeah,
because so many people are so regional focused. Like you talk anybody up here, you're going to talk Seahawks stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Or Arizona. That's one that I hear everybody talk about.
I think,
but not everybody knows everything else, like in Minnesota, or paying attention to teams that are Indianapolis, unless you're sucking that bad.
Yeah.
And there's something there. You get the snippet of the 3-minute snippet you get from Dan Patrick, or the 3-minute guy from Scott Van Pelt, breaking down the game really quick. And that's it. They don't look and dive in. Okay, what is this guy? Are you watching it? Are you breaking down film or looking at anything like that? And I think that's the biggest thing is, so then you stew on it when you get that.
I get your point, and I don't disagree, because yes, there are many people out there that are very regionalized. I think that's more baseball than football. Baseball is completely regionalized, but you're 100% right. You focus on your team, and then things outside are a little bit less out there, because yes, I'm watching the Red Zone and I'm watching all these games, and when games are close, I'm switching to them, but I have had the Jets up on the side TV the whole time.
I caught myself too many times on Sunday, and the game was over in the corner behind the countertop. I was watching the Detroit game more than I was watching my own game.
Well, I don't blame you there. We'll get to that game.
But no, I mean, that's what happens if you're a true fan and you're watching these games and watching the player. And this year my fantasy team is garbage. And I'm not really, and I'm not even paying attention for fantasy. I'm paying for entertainment value and watching what these guys do. I caught myself more over here instead of focusing on my game. And I wish everybody had that opportunity to see
of course. And people watch games in different ways, and some people will just watch highlights, and that's totally fine too. But last thing I will say about this Cincinnati Kansas City game, since Robert has been expecting me to have some fun. I'm gonna have some fun. You ready?
Yep.
Dallas crushed Indianapolis this week, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Green Bay.
It was bad.
Beat Dallas. The Jets.
I see where you're going with this too.
Beat Green Bay. And the Indianapolis Colts beat Kansas City this year. So, if de facto,
6 degrees of separation.
If de facto, Jets so much better than the Chiefs. All right.
Love it. I love it. That is good.
You are listening to the R&R Sports Report on our Facebook and YouTube pages on R&R Sports Report. Follow me at Randy Isbell. Robert is
RH Banham's voice.
Yeah, I know you had changed it, and I forgot. We have now switched over to LCWR. I don't know if they got the website fully up. I don't think we had a meeting this month, so I'm not sure where everything is at just yet. But hopefully by next semester, everything will be fully loaded and ready to go on that side of things. We'll probably be in studio one more week, and then we'll do our winter stuff.
I hope so.
But if it's this cold,
I hope I'm not on the road next week.
If you're on the road, then we'll figure it out.
We got to figure that out. It's going to be crazy. But
absolutely.
Dude, that was so funny. I haven't heard a reference of 6 degrees of separation in a long time.
I appreciate it.
And I'm old. So, I mean, that was a game show back in before my times, but in the 60s.
And then it became a Kevin Bacon thing.
Yep.
All right. Let's get into have some fun. Ready?
All right.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3. The other side he sees.
All right, let's have some fun. Let's answer some questions. First, fill in the blank.
All right.
Just like we did last week. Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Atlanta Falcons 19-16. Atlanta is on a bye week this week. Starting quarterback for the Falcons in week 15 will be.
I would love to say the guy that I have followed the last couple of years, Desmond Ritter, but I do not think so. I think they stay with Marcus Mariota.
Well, you can love to say Desmond Ritter because
I
I'm
do.
saying Desmond Ritter. I think with Tampa Bay winning, that the road to the playoffs for the Falcons is just a bit too hazy now.
Right.
I think if the Saints would have held on and won that game, another game we'll talk about where one play switches that result. Atlanta is a game and a half out of the division at that point. Maybe they continue to push. Now they're 2.5 out and they're only at 4 games left. I don't think they're going to, they could be 3 games out if Tampa Bay wins against your team on Sunday. So yeah, I think they're going to feel like they're out of it. It is time to see what you have with Desmond Ritter. Get him some reps for sure. How about this? Green Bay Packers defeated the Chicago Bears 28-19. The Green Bay Packers are on a bye week. The starting quarterback for the Packers in week 15 will be...
it'll be Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
As much as... unless something is determined in that thumb or he tweaks that his muscle in his midsection, I think he's going to finish the season before he says goodbye.
I think the moment that they get eliminated, they will switch. And I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be okay with that because then he'll be able to recuperate and stuff. But I'm just curious, can you have some kind of weird therapy where you just think the other team is the Chicago Bears? Is there a way to trick your mind, some kind of hypnosis deal where, oh, we're playing the Bears this week, and then you play like you're playing the Bears, like what Aaron Rodgers does every time?
What he does every time.
It's just ridiculous.
Listen, the way that game started out, it didn't look like that. Green Bay just looked a lot better in the second half than what they did. I both.
Who knows? All right. Justin Fields did not look good in the second half, and that's all right. I mean, he's young and he's growing.
He looked good in the first half, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, I'm playing Aaron Rodgers.
Cleveland Browns defeated the Houston Texans 27-14. Deshaun Watson's season debut for Cleveland was blank.
Lackluster. I mean, barely 130 yards. I think he ran the ball 20 yards. First, 5 passes were horrendous.
Oh, man, they were so off the mark.
I think lackluster is probably the best. I mean, Cleveland, you went and spent all that money on him, and this is what you got.
Yeah, 12 of 22, 131 yards, 1 interception, got sacked 1 time for -1 yards. He made Kyle Allen look like a better quarterback. My word is pathetic. Listen, I came on this show. Were we doing this show at this point? Maybe it was before we started doing this show. And I was doing other shows. Maybe it was on the kickoff. And I said I wanted the Jets to get Deshaun Watson when he asked for his trade from the Houston Texans.
We were here, yep.
And then I was dead set the Jets were going to get Deshaun Watson. And then all the allegations came out, and then more allegations came out. And then I don't want him. I don't think any team should have wanted him. But they're, he's such a great player. And then they're just going to throw him out there after not playing for 700 days. And, this will be fine. It was not fine. It was a train wreck. The Browns win this game for 2 reasons. The Texans are the best team in history at tanking. And 2, the defense and special teams scored every single point. The offense, which has good weapons on it, could not score a single point with Deshaun Watson.
For me, I think it all boils down in, yes, that team is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, they have figured out how to really stink it up and playing, but dude, Lovie Smith's game and the way he coaches is not. I mean, he was decent. He was okay when he was in college.
Mm-hmm.
He had control over those guys there. I think he's probably a lot better college coach than he is a NFL coach, because he has struggled immensely with the teams he's got. I think it's time that he needs to move on. Let's see what can we do to rebuild that Houston Texas team, and I think that's the big thing taken away watching everything unfold, because it even in the first, so what's going on?
I think I stopped even paying attention to that game.
So
I had no interest in it. Also, slight correction. I was joking about Tampa Bay playing your team. They play San Francisco. I just remember somebody that I was friends with that was bowling against Tampa Bay this week when I was doing score sheets. It's Deuce teams that's facing Tampa Bay.
I got
That's a tougher
Pittsburgh.
task for the Buccaneers. Dallas Cowboys defeated the Indianapolis Colts 54-19. The Colts' fourth quarter performance was blank.
I love your response,
Yeah,
but mine.
it was bad. It's bad. It was so bad.
Just it's gross. Yeah.
Yes. Haley says gross. Mine even more pathetic. We don't need to say anything else. They quit.
I just want to laugh the entire time. It was hilarious to watch that. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, because I was flipping through Facebook and everything, and one of our friends, Jenny, she is a huge Indianapolis Colts fan, and I think she called their game embarrassing, humiliating.
Absolutely.
I mean, what other words can you put into that?
Yeah.
Which I think
I also feel embarrassed and sad that I picked them to be in the AFC Championship game.
What I think it is it came down to, and she even said Matt Ryan is garbage. I'm looking up at her stuff now. And it says Matt Ryan is garbage. Time for the Colts to draft a new quarterback. I think, honestly, you jinxed them last week because you made the comment, who's the starting quarterback in week 1?
Because it wasn't going to be Matt Ryan. We all knew it.
Yeah, I think he needs to just finally step away and say,
I'm with them. I think they need to draft somebody and not pick up another quarterback, but that's just not what Indianapolis does. All right, let's move on. New game.
Answer my question! The question, jerk!
Whoa, all right.
Yeah, McEnroe going at it. All right, over under. Buffalo Bills defeated New England Patriots 24-10 back on Thursday night.
Right.
Over under 1.5 more games that the Bills will lose the rest of the season.
There's 2 games that I think that they could easily lose right away, and that'd be the Dolphin game and the Bengal game. So I'm gonna take the under. I don't think they can lose all of them, but they've got a couple
it would be
of tough ones.
Fantastic if they lost all of them. Any schedules, they host the Jets and they host the Dolphins, then they go to Chicago, they go to Cincinnati, and then they host New England. 3 division games, 2 road games. Obviously, at Cincinnati is very difficult, and I don't think they're going to sweep the division. I am not picking my Jets on the road, who had already beat them once this year, to sweep Buffalo. I'm not naive. I have questions about Miami with what they did with San Francisco, but they can be a dangerous team. And New England, will they have a chance at a playoff spot come week 18 or not? That'll be the question there. But I would favor Buffalo in 4 of their final 5 games. Obviously, at Cincinnati, I think I would favor Cincinnati barely. But I think they will drop 1 more, so I will say barely over. All right, Baltimore Ravens defeated Denver Broncos 10-9 in the game that set back the NFL 75 years. That was almost my over-under question. But my real over-under question is over-under 3.5 SEC defenses that could hold the Denver Broncos under 20 points in a game right now. For reference, the Broncos have only scored more than 20 points one time. One time this season. 12 games. They have scored 20 points or more one time in a 21-17 win over Jacksonville.
You say that's same as Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has only had 1 game over 23
Do
points.
they really?
Yes. Because that was one of the things that the stats that flopped up there in the fourth quarter was they'd only scored, 23.
Crazy.
Listen, If I don't.
Oh, I'm
say
wrong.
this,
Actually, it's been 2 times. They scored 23 points in a 32-23 loss to the Raiders. I just saw that here. Right, my bad.
So
2 times.
2 times. I know I would get beat if I didn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I mean, just because Georgia is Georgia, I'm going to take the over all day long with that.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, yeah.
It's a joke.
No way.
The Denver Broncos have been a joke. I know there's a lot of people that say put the NCAA championship team against the worst team in the league or whatever, and they would win. I don't think they would win. They would get crushed on the offensive line.
Not
the line play. They're bigger and more experienced in the NFL.
I don't know.
As a Jets fan, that our entire offensive line is usually young and new. Yes. The new people coming in, for the most part, you can hide one here and there.
Hide one, everyone. Yeah, I don't know. The talent, some of the talent though that's coming out is getting. There's some unbelievable, great football coaches in the United States now, and watching some of these younger teams and coming up, but I'd still throw Bama and Georgia up there again.
Absolutely not. And yes, Haley, it is freezing in here. There is no heat going on at all.
Yes, it's very much so, and I'm getting cold chills twice.
All right, speaking of Tampa Bay, they defeated New Orleans. I forgot about the score, but it doesn't matter. They won the game. Over under 47 as the age of Tom Brady when he finally retires.
God,
it's a good comeback win for
17-16. He comes back, orchestrates a unbelievable comeback, even with his offensive lineman picking up 2 more holding penalties and now leads the league in penalties.
Yeah, he won that game twice. And the offensive lineman, hold on.
Yeah. I think it's going to be over. I really do.
Me too.
I think he has something to prove. I think he's going to play until 50. I think he's going to try to get to the 50 mark.
I need more question prompts. But yeah, I'm with you on the over. One more game to play. Pick a side.
Pick a side.
Detroit defeated Jacksonville 40-14. That was a bad pick by me. And the Raiders defeated the Chargers 27-20. Which of those two 5-7 teams has the best chance to make the playoffs? Lions or Raiders? Or you could pick the Browns if you really want. I eliminated them because of just logic, but which one has the best chance?
And you laughed at me because I told you I don't like this question. I really don't. I don't like this question because you look question. At it. It's a fair question because this is. I went back and I did some looking, and Detroit has won 4 of their last 5. They could easily win 3 of their last 5 against Carolina, Chicago, and the Packers. I can see that happening. Detroit, I love Dan Campbell. I love what he's doing there. Then you look at Las Vegas, has won their last 3 games and could easily win their last 5. So if the West is garbage, I think they could.
Except for Kansas City.
Yeah, and I think honestly, if they are the team, I think it'd be Vegas sneaking in.
Well, it wouldn't be because of the West; it'd be the playoffs. So what? The Jets are 2 games up on them, and you have the Chargers and the Patriots in between.
Yep.
It's not murderer's row.
No.
As far as what they would have to go through. So I can get that. I guess Pittsburgh's 5-7.
Have you seen all the tie breaks for Las Vegas? That's the tie break over Cleveland.
Oh no, that's just their breakdown of why they're over Cleveland.
I read that earlier today. I'm like, that is
look what I get to go through in our bowling league. All right. The tiebreakers get insane. So yeah, they don't have to go through a ton. For Detroit, they are 2 games behind Seattle, 2.5 games now behind the Giants for the 6th spot. Washington is in between as well. Mine is going to be the Detroit Lions just because it's more against the Giants and the Seahawks. I've seen more cracks on their side than I have. I still believe in the Jets. I think the Chargers are trying to figure it out, even though they just lost to the Raiders this weekend. So that is tempting as well. Like you said, I think both teams should be favored. 3 out of 5.
Yep. I'm just
but the
going to give you a
Lions
coin.
have been playing so much better lately.
They've played 11.
They crushed the Giants. They crushed the Jaguars. They lost by 3 in a good game against Buffalo on Thanksgiving. Could they beat Minnesota? Yes. Could they beat the Jets? Yes. So they could run the table.
So with this being said, and I don't remember if it was me listening to Scott Van Pelt last night or if it was me listening to Chris Rose on Sunday night, and I'm going to throw this out at you. If Detroit can come away with it, do you give Dan Campbell Coach of the Year? What they've done over the last 5 games, 4 of the last 5, when what they've done, could you put his name in that group of Coach of the Year?
Yeah, you can put him in the group. Kind of depends on what Philadelphia does. If they,
I'm not going to say
16
he's winning
and 1.
I'm not going to say
no,
he
he'd
wins
be in the
it, but
conversation.
he could
for
easily
sure.
be in the conversation. What he's done with that team.
Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely put him in the conversation. All right. Some NFL news we'll run through real quick. Carolina Panthers got rid of Baker Mayfield. You asked where he will land. The answer real quick. One team put in a waiver claim. That was Los Angeles Rams. And rumors are he might start in 2 days.
Be interesting to see if it happens. If it is, he's going to be at home against Mr. Carr. So
Speaking
Carr
of the
versus
Raiders,
Mayfield.
Lamar Jackson most likely will not start on Sunday. Your
Mhm.
offense looked horrible
Oh my
with Huntley.
God.
Not that it was looking great with Lamar. I worry for your Ravens against these Steelers.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But for me, it boils back down to Gus Edwards. It still does not look like his the way he was producing 2 years ago. And then I think it's just been horrific and watching him hold the ball. Drake has sparks every once in a while, but they've got to get the run game. They've got to get it going. It's going to be a very, very tight game. I haven't looked. I think the spread when I looked at first was like 6, but I guarantee you with that, with the week to week with Lamar, it's going to probably drop back down to maybe 3. It's going to be a close game.
Tennessee somehow, for whatever reason, fires John Robinson. He joined the team in 2016, never had a losing record under his watch as the GM. So obviously something happened behind the scenes for him to lose his job.
Yeah,
in the middle of the season.
In the middle of the season, yeah, you lose one game to
and
this
it's
one,
not the GM's fault when you lose a game.
No, I think there's. I'm
So
100%
there was an
with you.
argument somewhere.
Underlying something going on.
It's either an argument or allegations or things that have been figured out. But I think we're going to learn more about this.
Yeah, this is the last. There is not the last that we'll hear from this one.
And Dallas met with OBJ. Where do you think he ends up?
I don't know if he makes it in Dallas or not. I think he's got 3 other places he's going, I believe. I don't think he's going to end up in Dallas.
I think so. I think that's a good spot for him. Dallas is a pretty good team, good defense. As long as he's healthy, he did really good as a role player for the Rams.
I would think he would go back to the Rams with.
Why would you go back to the Rams? They have no playoff chances. He gets to pick
I know
any
he wants,
team
he wants to
to
go and play and get a title, but I mean that's the team that needs a lot of work.
Well, yeah,
they need
and
a lot
he's
of
not going
help.
to go to a team that needs a lot of work. He wants a team
He wants to win now.
that can win a championship. So it's like Cowboys and Chiefs and Bengals and Eagles and like be a front runner. That's what he's looking for.
Yeah, I just don't know where you would fit him in that.
We mostly talked about the playoff picture. We can skip through that. Buffalo is now your 1 seed in the AFC right now. So let's get into it. Hey, I did this last time, so you can do the fun part. You ready?
All right.
You underestimate my power.
Of the rankings, power rankings time. And for me this week, after week 13, I don't do much on mine, but I'm going to bring one team back into the top 5 that has been gone for a little bit. I do bump Kansas City down 1. I'm going to bring Philly up 1 just over the loss, but I'm going to keep Philly 1, Kansas City 2. I'm going to move Dallas up
Okay.
even with their great game, I just can't bring them up two big spots. I mean, bringing them up one with a very good win against Indianapolis. San Francisco, even with the quarterback thing going on, I think McCaffrey is still a strong number one there in the NFC West. But I'm bringing back Minnesota.
Why?
Because I like what they've done. I think they're going to be there.
Watching that game, and I know the Jets lost that game, I am not sold on Minnesota being a top contender come playoff team. There's nothing that scares you other than Justin Jefferson. Run game is not good. Secondary is garbage. They just find weird ways to win games late. And it's worked for them in the regular season, but it's going to bite them come the playoffs. They're a team I want to play come January. I'm saying that right now, and they are nowhere near my top 5. I am with you. I moved Kansas City down, so Philadelphia moves back up into my top spot as well. I'm going to move Dallas up to 2 as a reverse jinx. Hopefully that they'll finally slow down a little bit. But no, that defense has been phenomenal. Yes, it was the Colts. Yes, it was a fourth quarter meltdown in that game. Yes, Dak Prescott's not looking great right now, but they're still winning games. And that's a team I think that is built for January. It's weird to say for Dallas. And as everyone says, and as Haley said in the chat earlier, Dallas finds ways to blow it come January, but they're built really well right now.
Get the VHSs out.
I only dropped Casey. You only dropped him 1. I dropped him 2 spots, moved him down to 3. I'm not worried about this team. It was a really good game with Cincinnati. As we said earlier, heavyweights going at it, just weren't able to come away with the win. So I'm not going to penalize them too much. I had San Francisco 2 last week. I dropped them down to 4. I am a bit worried with Brock Purdy, but I am also excited about that defense. I think the offense is built well enough that you can hide a quarterback like that. So I still think they could be in contention, but that definitely hurts them as far as their Super Bowl aspirations go. And I'm moving up the Cincinnati Bengals. You beat Kansas City. You're starting to get rolling a little bit. I know you don't want to put them up there because that means that you would believe that they're better than your Baltimore Ravens. Newsflash, they are. Just how it is. And I think the Bengals are going to end up winning the AFC North. All right, eliminations time. We had both eliminated 6 on each side, which means we only have 3 more on each side that we're able to eliminate. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty, and we both eliminated the same team.
Listen, I think you're still worried about one of your eliminations already.
That is scary.
And you took them in week 3. You
did.
Took Washington.
Again, this was part of the whole experiment.
I think you're a little nervous about that. I after the performance that happened on Sunday.
Robert Taylor's phone restarted on him. I wonder if he heard my wonderful Jets are better than the Chiefs explanation. I will redo that wonderful performance, Robert, if you missed that, just so you know. And I agree with Eric. If Dallas loses to Tampa Bay on the wild card weekend, it'll be fantastic. He did not? All right.
Okay, you got to do it.
Do your elimination thing real quick. I'll do it at the top of the hour.
So I'm doing Indianapolis. I think after their implosion, and that's being nice in the fourth quarter against Dallas, I think it's finally time to put them on that list.
Oh, yeah. They have been on the edge. There's another team in the NFC that is very much on the edge. One of them won on Sunday, one did not. So I am also taking the Indianapolis Colts. Again, yes, they were my AFC championship losers.
Let's get to the best part now.
They will not get there.
Let's get to the best part. We our NFL picks.
No, let's move on. No. Yay, let's get to week. No, you did beat me again. Actually, you know what?
5 games different.
Those are the only 5 games you and I got wrong throughout.
Throughout the entire thing. I would gladly take your 11-3-1.
Yeah, I thought I was happy with it.
Yeah.
And you still gained another game on me, 12-2-1 for you. So you now have a 10-game lead with 5 weeks to go. And I just let everybody know we post our picks on Thursday morning, Thursday early afternoon, whenever Robert's able to get to them.
10 a.m.
I'm letting you know right now. Do not follow my picks. I have to go insane and pick random stuff to
I-
hope to hit the right goofiness.
I even texted you. I said, "Are you ready?" Because I didn't want us.
And yes, Haley is still beating me in the picks.
Yes.
I finally got back into our top 10, mostly because Mike Alverson didn't make his picks last week. But I got back into the top 10 of our bowling league. I'm happy with
There
that.
you go.
So congratulations to you. Real quick, key games in week 14. Jets Bills. Good AFC East rematch there. Vikings Lions, another good divisional matchup. Eagles Giants. Can the Giants battle with a good playoff team? I don't really think so, but we'll talk about that later. Dolphins and Chargers. Chargers hanging on to any kind of playoffs hopes. Dolphins trying to bounce back from last week's performance. Buccaneers. Can they get over 500?
Can they get more than 20 points?
Yeah, that too. As they go to San Francisco. The classic Tom Brady versus Brock Purdy.
Yep.
It's a classic. 6 teams on bye last week with buys in there, and they went all out with it. So I know fantasy managers are going to have issues this final week because usually this is the last week for the regular season.
Yeah.
Thursday night football, the Las Vegas Raiders at Baker Mayfield and the Los Angeles
That's
Rams.
weird to say.
It is.
It's going to be weird seeing him in blue and yellow.
Either way, he's losing. Give me the Raiders.
Yeah, same here. Give me Carr. Carr's going to carve him up.
A couple of news items real quick, too. Week 15 news. So not this upcoming week, but the week after. Giants and the Washington Commanders. That's a good one. Gets moved to Sunday night football. The Patriots and Raiders get moved to the 105, the afternoon spot on Fox. 3 games got moved to Saturday as we're starting. Now that college football is out of the way, NFL can start moving these games around. We get that there in week 15. 3 Saturday games. Colts, Vikings, Ravens, Browns, and Dolphins, and Bills. That's a good Saturday.
The 2 later ones are okay. I think Minnesota just handles Indianapolis.
Yes. I mean, if you want to watch a beatdown.
All right. Give Taylor your rant.
All right, Taylor.
Your 6 degrees of separation.
I went through it, but we radio can go back and tread on the same talk because sometimes people miss things. And Robert Taylor missed the most important part of the show. So let me once again explain to you why the New York Jets are better than the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, you see the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday night crushed the Indianapolis Colts.
Yes, sir.
The Green Bay Packers beat those old Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, sir.
Which we still are trying to figure out how all that happened. My New York Jets beat the Green Bay Packers. How do I know that?
You were in attendance.
I was there.
You were there.
Oh, yeah, and those Indianapolis Colts I talked about earlier, they beat the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Jets are better than the Chiefs. Hands down, no questions asked. If they meet in the playoffs, your Chiefs are going down. That's what I got. You are listening to the R&R Sports Report right here on our Facebook and YouTube pages. If you don't follow us yet, follow us now. Or tell other people to follow so they can just listen to us talk silliness. Hey, there's sarcasm in that comment, but I'm taking it anyways. All right, let's get into high school sports. Basketball season is here.
You ready to get to going on that?
There's so much. After work tonight, I'm going down to Tribune. There's like 20 games going on tonight. We're in full swing. We'll talk about 2 teams that we follow and we cover, Lewis and Bengals, Clarkson Bantams for the most part. We'll start filtering in some other teams as the season gets going. And
we'll definitely top Lapway.
Oh, yeah. Lapway starts tonight against Post Falls. They got some really good matchups. They're going to be taking on a big tournament next week, a Nike tournament in Washington. They'll be taking one of the top teams in the country in Linden, or not country, but in Washington, in Linden. Coeur d'Alene is in that tournament. Lake City's in that tournament. So there's some really good teams there. But for my Lewis and Bengals, the girls finally got off the schneid back on Wednesday night. They got their first win against Moscow, 55-38, moves on to 1-4. Zoe Kessinger had a really good night with 21 points. They're back in action on Friday. The boys had a good weekend against a couple of Southern Idaho teams as the Bengal boys defeated Boise 52-43 with Carson Way's 31 points. Straight domination there. And then they defeated Bora 52-27. Jordan Bramlett had 14 points, and Bora did not score double figures in any of the 4 quarters. They are taking on Pullman. It just tipped off probably about 5 minutes ago. So we'll see how that goes. Definitely check out the Lewiston Morning Tribune and all the other sites to see how all this action went on. But good start for Brooks Malm, the new head coach for the Lewiston Bengals, and Khalil Stevenson, who is the freshman coach up there now at Lewiston. He came and say hi before both of those games this weekend and see what the Bengals can do.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting and to watch. I want to make sure I go up and try to get into one of those freshman games, see how his coaching style is and how he fits in with that whole group. So yeah, I don't understand. What's 2 years?
I don't understand the 2 years either, but Zach's Jennifer's coming up too.
Yes, it is. Let's turn our attention to Clarkston. They both traveled down to Pendleton. I know both on Friday and Saturday, both came away with wins on both of those games. So, those little tiny tournaments, they don't really count much anything.
Just kind of get you going.
But both clubs are in action on Thursday as we take on and host Colfax. Girls will tip at 5:30. Boys will tip at 7. So it's going to be interesting, especially with the Clarkson girls. Not really any over 5'11". So it's going to be a run and talking with a lot of different people. It's going to be a run and gun kind of game. I work with one of the guys that has a daughter that's on that team. She scored 16 on Saturday. So, there you go.
They give out badges for sticking with us for 2 years, apparently.
But yeah, it's going to come down to that. And I am excited to see. I know you and I haven't really talked about this, but the boys should be decent. Ian Moore right now dealing with a little bit of knee injury. I don't know if he'll play. Landon Taylor, same way, a little bit of injury. But Dominic Palucci comes across the river. And so he comes from Lewiston and is going to be playing in Clarkston. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays this year.
Robert Taylor says 2 years too long. If you ask me, I don't disagree. All right, let's get into some college football. How about prime time? Moving on to Colorado.
Moving away from Jackson State.
Yeah, Jackson State went 12-0 this season. Good for them. But now he gets to move to the Pac-12 for a team that won like a game. I do like that. He came in with a swagger. He's gonna try to rebuild this program for a Pac-12 conference that might not even be around by the time he really gets going. We'll see what other teams move around. But do you think he can be successful over there?
Who wouldn't want to play for Deion Sanders? I think that'd be great. Bring some high-spirited culture. I mean, I don't want to use the word culture, but high-spirited. And they've already said that a few of his Jackson State players are planning on transferring.
Oh, for sure.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens to that. And I know it's bowl season. Do you let Deion coach Jackson State, or is he done coaching that team?
Yeah, has he announced? Because I remember he was saying that he wanted to finish the job.
You would think
at Jackson State, but there's a lot of work to do in Colorado. So I don't know. I'll get to that rant. Don't worry. Heisman Trophy will be awarded on Saturday night. Your finalists, all quarterbacks, because that's the only position that matters. The MVP in the NFL proves that every year. Georgia's quarterback, Stetson Bennett. TCU's quarterback, Max Duggan. Ohio State quarterback, CJ Stroud. And USC's quarterback, Caleb Williams. Those are your 4 finalists, 2 seniors, a junior, and a sophomore. Who do you got?
For me, I was back and forth between 2 of them, between Stroud and Bennett. And I'm going to go to Bennett. Yes, he's a senior. Stroud just a junior, but Georgia's 13-0. There's a reason they're 13-0. Not huge numbers, 27 total touchdowns, compared to Stroud's numbers of 37 total. But, to be able to keep that team where he's at and played last year, I think well deserving for Bennett.
I was between 2, and CJ Stroud, I think, is deserving for sure. But I'm going to go Caleb Williams, sophomore out of USC. He really helped turn that program around. They went from middle of the road stuff to playoff contenders. It will be interesting to see if the fingernail painting that happened before losing to Utah will affect voters. I found it funny.
I thought it was hilarious.
I also found it funny. I'm pretty sure that there's a cuss word on the Lewiston Tribune because there's a picture of him holding a football in that game, and he has the painted fingernails. Couldn't really tell if on our copy if you could read it out or not, but I had a good laugh about it. But yeah, give it to the sophomore. 37 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions, over 4,000 yards passing. Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, put up some great numbers. The only thing, it's kind of the same reason, everybody talks about serving. I mean, didn't play or didn't win his championship game. Stroud didn't get to play in a championship game. I kind of lean Bennett that way just because he played in it.
There is one more college game to go. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Now, for Division I.
Yes.
There's all the minor playoffs and stuff. But bowl season is upon us, which means for whatever reason, opt-out season is upon us. Okay.
We're here to make the money, right?
I want to know whose bright idea. I have no problem with the transfer portal.
Right.
Because colleges bounce around all the time. And it's those coaches that talk these players into coming to the school, and then they move, and the players just kind of stuck there in a system that's not meant for them. So they should be able to bounce around too. No problem with that. But who opens the portal before the season's over? How is that an okay thing? But then you tell me, no, Randy, the season's over. But no, sir, people want me to care about these 743 bowl games that are coming up.
There 43 this year, I think.
It's 20 too many. And I don't care about the bowl games because the coaches don't care about the bowl games because the coaches move at this point, a la Deion Sanders, even though his team's not doing a bowl, but are they in a bowl or are they in a playoff? Either way. And now the players don't care about the bowls. They were used to just be opting out for the NFL. Now they're jumping into the transfer portal too. There's several WSU players that most likely will not be playing in their bowl game because they went to the transfer portal. So why should I, as a football fan, care about your bowl games when a third of your roster is going to be completely different for this super important Alamo Bowl game? Explain it to me.
I think they just need to make these kids play it. I know they're eventually making them go to school. And yes, Jackson State is playing North Carolina Central in the Cricket Celebration Bowl game. I know you needed to know that.
I don't care.
On December 17th. I'm about these guys playing. I mean, if you're that good and you are going to go to the next level, why not showcase it?
Because you already did all year.
Oh, finish it out. Finish your
Finish
season.
what out?
Finish your season.
Finish the money-making game?
Yeah.
That's all a bowl game is. It's not to showcase your stuff. It's so your college can
makes
make
money.
millions of dollars, even
Yeah.
though they've already made millions of dollars off of you. The bowl game means nothing. If you want me to believe that the bowl games mean anything, you have to do two things. Lock the transfer portal and coaches until after bowls are done. Say no transactions of that kind can be made by any team that's in a bowl game.
January 20th. Same time the president comes in. What is it, 20th or 21st? Whenever, every 4 years.
Whenever. You can do it earlier than that. Just the day the national championship game's over, you could do your stuff. And cut them in half. Now, we're going to get the playoff. We're going to expand it to 12 teams, so hopefully we're not having this 3-week gap that these national championship teams have to play in.
Right.
And all those people, it's going to ruin the bowls. No, the bowls ruin the bowls. You turn on a bowl game, like the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl, and you expect to watch Fresno State and Washington State, and then half of Washington State's different because a third of the team transferred out, another third of the team opted out. Oh, and the coach took a different job. So why do I care? This is where you respond.
Listen, I want them to play. That's hands down for me. You know, if you're wanting to be in a game where you've supported your team the entire year, keep playing. You want to go to the next level. It's an interview. That's what I think about it. If you're going to play at the next level, it is now an interview in a bowl game because you're only
but your coach just left.
But that's the big difference. But I'm saying you've got the end of December through mid-January. Then the combine starts in February.
But again, it's not even just NFL people. It's the players transferring because they can transfer now.
And see, and I agree. I mean, you make a good point. That needs to not happen until after everything's done.
But you know why it does happen? Because the season is over. The season's over.
That's what needs to change. It does. I think if you're committed to a team, you play it all the way through.
Yeah, all of these games are exhibition games, except for the playoffs. The bowl games killed themselves. The playoffs did not kill the bowl games. The bowl games killed themselves. Oversaturated and then made them just not worth anything.
That being said, next week we'll have our first half of the bowl games. We'll post those on our Facebook page too.
See, you asked the question, and I'll ask you. Bowl games that you are looking forward to, other than the New Year's Six, sir?
Yes, other than New Year's.
Which ones?
I'm looking forward to the Fresno State Washington State game. I think Oregon North Carolina was going to be a good one. Texas Washington was going to be a good one. I think those three are the three big ones I'm looking forward to.
Ask me now.
All right. So which ones are you most excited for? And I know you wanted me. I looked it up for you there a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
The Celebration Bowl. Jackson State will be playing North Carolina Central. So are you looking forward to watching that one?
No.
How about the Alamo Bowl?
No.
How about Jimmy Kimmel?
Who?
Let's see. How about the Cheez-Its Bowl? Florida State, Oklahoma.
I'll eat some Cheez-Its. No, I'm not interested
Tiger?
in any of these anymore.
Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl.
I'm not doing. You sent me the whole list of bowl games. We'll pick them for the show for entertainment purposes and whatever. I do not care about bowls anymore. I used to love this time of the year and just start watching teams that I was not interested in or have not seen on TV. It also helps that all these teams are now on TV every week because there's 17 different ESPN channels and ESPN Plus has all the other games and Fox has a bunch of different channels. So you can watch all these teams anyways, but there's just too many of them. The players don't care. The coaches don't care. The schools really don't care other than the money they're bringing in.
With that being said, I'm going to bring up one just because it caught my eye.
Okay.
Because of what TV station that they're going to be on.
Oh, God.
It's going to be Ohio versus Wyoming in the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl.
Okay.
Being shown on Barstool. What is Barstool?
That's a website.
I
thought you were going to say like on the Lifetime channel.
I laughed at it when I saw what is Barstool.
You know what Barstool is?
No, I've never
You're
seen
so old. I even know what Barstool is. I don't follow Barstool, but
yeah, that game is on December 30th, 4:30 if you're interested. 1:30, excuse me.
Too many games. I don't care. I just cannot do it. I would rather watch NBA basketball than the bowl games.
No.
Yes.
No.
You know what? I'm going to play it now because we're not going to even talk about it.
Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it! Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it!
Yes. Give me the basketball. I'm going to dunk it. Screw the bowl games.
No, can't
Go
do it. Can't
Knicks.
do it.
Actually, go Warriors. Let's talk LCSC sports and basketball. So the transition still works. Men continue to have their up and down season.
Mhm.
So far, we are into league play, but the men now 5-4 on the year, 2-1 in conference. They lost their first conference game against Northwest, 93-86. Davian Brown had a great game with 27 points. Silas Benyon had a great game. He had 24 points, but unfortunately, they gave up 14 3-pointers to Northwest in that game. Good bounce back. They beat Evergreen State 80-56. Davion Brown just had a good weekend. He had 18 points on Saturday. Colfax's John Lustig scores 13. The freshman's doing pretty good. Grayson Hunt's been a really good freshman as well. So LC now 5-4. Be interesting to see if they can get on any kind of a roll and make a postseason push. They will play one game this week. It'll be an exhibition game against Northwest Indian College. It'll be Thursday at 5:30. And then they have a couple games next week and then start getting ready for Christmas break and all that fun stuff. But the women have been phenomenal. They are 6-1. They're 3-0 in league. And while the men lost to Northwest.
I had to double look at the score.
Yes. The women defeated Northwest 93-28. They outscored Northwest 26-3 in the second quarter. It's pretty good. Callie Stevens, phenomenal. Friend of the show, 32 points on Friday. She had 17 points on Saturday and a 61-53 win against Evergreen State. Ellie Sander had a double-double, 10 points and 10 rebounds. And the Warriors win that game by 8 points while going just 3 of 23 from beyond the arc. So the team is showing different ways to get it done. Friday will be a really big game. I'm sad I won't be there, but I will be up at LHS while this game goes on. But the Warriors, who I'm blanking on where they're ranked right now, I believe they're top 20, are going to be hosting number 9 Carroll, the old rivals from the Frontier Conference. Friday, 5 p.m. right here at the P1FCU Activity Center. And then on Saturday, the Warriors will host George Fox at 1 p.m. also here at the P1FCU Activity Center. And then for men's golf, they were honored by the Golf Coaches Association of America on Tuesday with the 2022 Mark Leish Award. It's based on improvement in adjusted stroke average per round from last season to this season. So congratulations to those guys. Your Clarkston Bantams had some wrestling as well.
The Bantams traveled up to Deer Park for their big invite that Deer Park always runs, and we come away with a championship in the 132-pound weight class. Dawson Bailey, if I remember right, Dawson's a junior this year, comes away with a big win there. We had a couple other medalists. Gabe Wiesa finishes 4th place at the 126-pound weight class. Braden Jared, I know he is a friend of the show. He listens quite regularly. He lets me know that he's listening. He ended up finishing 5th place in the 285-pound weight class. And then Gavin Wood, I believe he is a sophomore this year, 6th place in the 182-pound weight class. So excited to see these wrestlers and what they can do. They are traveling to Moscow tomorrow. They're taking on the Bears up there at the Den. Tomorrow night, JV starts at 6. The varsity starts at 7, and then Othello will get a big tournament this weekend in Othello. So I don't think I have a wrestling match to call until January after we get back from Christmas break. So, but if you have not watched a wrestling match, a wrestling duel. It's a great experience. Make sure you go and watch those things.
All right, there you go. Let's get to our pick'ems.
Don't cry. Don't cry.
I had such a big lead.
You had a huge lead.
I hope you can do the same gift to me in the NFL picks as I did for you in these college and high school picks. Last week was our final week. We did all of the Washington State Championship games. Congratulations to Liberty Bell, Napa Vine, Royal, Linden, Yale, and Lake Stevens for winning your Washington State championships. I went 3-3 in those high school games. You went 4-2. So I went for the upset against Linden. That was very much a mistake. North Kitsap kept it close, but unable to get things done. So that was our big difference there. And in college, both of us kind of struggled. We both got USC wrong. We both got TCU wrong. We did not expect craziness to happen. We both got Ohio wrong.
The TCU one still boggles my mind. And I know Kansas State was good.
Yeah.
Decent.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to watch them in their bowl game. I really didn't think that TCU would have. Honestly, it looked not terrible the first half.
Yeah, I mean, they came back, got it to overtime, got stopped at the 1, and that's kind of what happens. We picked 2 games different, and we split those 2 games. So, out of the entire season, we tied 145 to 83. But you know what?
You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.
Who do you want, Army or Navy?
Give me. Man, that's tough.
I have my pick in my head.
That is tough. Give me Navy. I'm going to take Navy.
Good, because I was taking Army.
Give me Navy.
Navy, I believe, is a 1.5 point favorite, which means not much. Navy's 4-7. Army is 5-6 on the year. So there you go. That will decide our pickup. Army Navy game.
Army Navy. It's coming down
on Saturday.
Danny Brown's going to be mad because I went. I showed him the same uniforms I showed you last week, and so I think Navy's just gonna. They're going to control it. They're going to take it. That's what I'm going to say.
Talking Baseball has a new T-shirt out with the tweet that says "Arson Judge appears to be headed to the Giants." As a T-shirt.
Arson.
I want that shirt.
Arson. And that's just crazy.
I am looking through very quick to make sure Aaron Judge did not go anywhere. It does not look like he did. Okay,
yeah.
So maybe we'll be waiting for tomorrow.
Over under on that Army Navy game, 32 points. Navy is 4.
Jeez,
30.
That's so little.
Navy is 4-7 on the season. Army 5-6. And right now, according to ESPN, Navy is 1.5 points. They are playing in Philadelphia.
Yeah. So. The over/under is so small, and yet so much more than what Denver and Baltimore did on Sunday. Real quick, let's go through a scoreboard update, since I forgot to update the way we were doing our schedules and gave ourselves 15 minutes to do pick'ems, but we had nothing to pick.
Nothing.
Women's college basketball top 25. Villanova defeated American 83-42. And number 22 Gonzaga right now leading Queens University 60-32. That went in the fourth quarter. So no real big matchups in women's basketball tonight. Already in the books in men's college basketball. Number 2 Texas went down to number 17 Illinois in the Jimmy V Classic in overtime. Illinois wins that one 85-78. Arkansas beats UNC Greensboro. Houston beats North Florida. Virginia beats James Madison. Baylor beats Tarleton. So a lot of the ranked teams holding serve so far. Going on right now, number 3, Maryland holding on to a 1-point lead over Wisconsin, 43-42. About 10 minutes ago there in the second half. And about 7 minutes ago in the first half, number 15 Duke with a 2-point lead over Iowa, 19-17. Also in the Jimmy V Classic. Only 3 games in the NBA as the Cavaliers defeated the Los Angeles Lakers 116-102, and the Pistons beat the Heat 116-96. Going on right now, Mavericks beating the Nuggets 28-25. Still 2 minutes to go in the first quarter.
With that being said,
and
I know you and I don't follow NBA.
Yep.
The Lakers just that bad this year.
They're not very good.
10-13 right now.
There's a lot of drama with that team.
And tons of drama with that team. But I do they turn it around and make it to the final 8?
So the final 8?
Well, no,
the final 8 in the West, maybe.
That's what I'm saying.
They make the playoffs, maybe, because they have so many teams make the playoffs. Well, now it's like 10. 10 teams make the playoffs because they have that play-in round
Oh,
where 7, 8, 9, and 10 play each other. NHL, the Devils are now 21-4-1 as they crush the Blackhawks 3-0. Kings beat the Senators 5-2. Penguins beat the Blue Jackets 4-1. Red Wings over the Lightning 4-2. Blues scored 7 goals against the Islanders, win that one 7-4. Going on right now, Jets over the Panthers. This is hockey, not football, but still Jets over the Panthers 4-2. Maple Leafs over the Stars. Records-wise, this is a really good game, but Maple Leafs are winning at 3-0. Ducks over the Hurricanes 2-1. And
Release the Kraken!
other than the Kraken are losing to the Canadians 1-0 about 7 minutes ago in the first period. Once again, I don't know if I've said this on the show or not.
Okay.
I've made a mistake.
No, come on. I don't see that happening.
I decided I was a Buffalo Sabre fan back in the late 90s, Dominic Hasek.
Okay.
And then I kind of slipped out of hockey, and I didn't watch hockey that much. And I said on this show last year that with hockey really going to ESPN Plus,
You were going to watch
that I was going to watch more
Mhm.
hockey, and the Kraken were here for Seattle, and I usually don't root for Seattle teams, but there's been a long enough gap. For the first time in my life, I was going to switch teams.
Okay.
I was going to go from the Buffalo Sabres to the Seattle Kraken because it's on ESPN Plus. I can watch the Kraken. I can get into hockey.
Okay.
ESPN Plus blacks out the Kraken because they're too close. And they want me to watch it on Root. And Root and Dish do not
Right.
get along. So I can't watch the Kraken.
Irritates me.
The Kraken are the only team I can't watch. So I can't watch the only team I wanted to root for. That is my mistake. And I regret it. And so
Way to go.
I still have not got into hockey. All right, you want to talk about some baseball?
Well, I was thinking really quick. We need to figure out before that.
Mhm.
We got to look at our schedule.
'Kay.
And I think one game works out. You just need to make sure you have it off. I think
Remember.
I think we road trip and go catch a Spokane Chiefs game. I know we have a Vista on the 27th, 28th, and 29th.
Yeah.
But they do have a Friday game as Spokane hosts Tri-Cities. You have to think about a road trip there.
It's possible, but I have a good chance I'll be working.
I need to figure that
At the
out.
Tribune, but-
I there's so much. I don't know. I followed it so much more when I have went to a few games. I
Mhm.
need to go up to a game.
Yeah, I still want to go watch a hockey game live. It's something I still have never done. So I'm for it. Just right now with work and
Right.
basketball season is insane. All right, now let's get into baseball. They had their inaugural MLB draft lottery. Watched a replay of it. It was whatever. Pirates will have the number 1 pick come June. Do you care?
Nah, not really.
No.
Not for the draft.
I just want them to expand it again, so I care for the draft again. It's sad that they've shortened the rounds, obviously because of the COVID stuff, but they have not expanded them back out. So people from LC really just have no chance because
Right.
it's all NCAA people or high school people. They stay away for the most part. What was it? 2 people from the NAIA last year even got drafted.
Mhm.
So just disappointing to see. How about the Hall of Fame? What happened?
So big news this week. Fred McGriff, aka the Crime Dog.
Mhm.
That's where I watched him when he was really big with the Atlanta Braves. Is elected unanimously to the Hall of Fame on the contemporary era ballot. And he received all 16 votes. So that's that ballot that's comprised of players who their contributions from 1980s to now. So McGriff was played for 6 different teams, 5-time All-Star, 3-time Silver Slugger. Biggest thing for him that I was huge into, and I didn't realize this, that he had 10 seasons with 30 home runs. And he did that on 5 of the 6 teams. The only team he didn't do that on was with the Dodgers in his last year with the Dodgers. But well deserved. You look at that, you've got to get 12 votes to get in. So McGriff gets all 16. Your man Don Mattingly does not make it. He only gets 8. He needed 12.
Yeah.
Kurt Schilling also 7. Shocked about this one. Dale Murphy only was 6.
Mhm.
And then you look at some of the questionable ones.
Yeah.
You've got Albert Bell, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, and Rafi Palmeiro only receiving 4 less votes on that.
Yeah, they
So,
just, I don't think they'll ever get in. They're just running out of different avenues to get in. Not shocked, but sad that Donnie Baseball still not finding his way into the Hall of Fame. I do think it was because his career was kind of cut short. He had the back problems. If he doesn't have the back problems, he's your first baseman for the Yankees during that dynasty, and then he's a lock at that point. Even if he is just a role player on that team, you start adding rings to what he was able to do in the late 80s, early 90s for Yankee baseball.
Right.
I mean, he was the best player on a really crappy era of Yankee baseball. Richie and I were talking about our buddy and fellow Yankee fan, and we're talking about, Don Mattingly, if he could have led the Dodgers to the World Series as the manager when he was there for a little bit. He obviously wasn't going to do it with Miami. Maybe even getting that World Series as a manager might have helped push him over the top, because then you have your ring. He is now the bench coach for Toronto, which makes me sad. He should be the manager of the Yankees, not Aaron Boone. Just saying that right now. Richie believes, and I kind of agree with him, that Toronto brought Don Mattingly in to be the bench coach, just in case the manager doesn't work out. Then you have your new interim coach ready and in the wings.
Right.
And then if he is a head coach in the division with the Yankees, it's just going to make me want to throw up.
It's going to be, yeah. But, how much longer we got to lose to Aaron Boone?
I don't know. And Brian Cashman gets re-signed.
Might as well bring it up. 4 more years of him. 4 more years. That's okay.
If you were to look up all-time bonehead plays.
Yeah, that's what the Yankees are doing right now. That's why Aaron Judge hasn't signed yet. Actually, I don't mind Cashman as much as most people, but Aaron Boone's just been terrible. Speaking of moves in the offseason, Seattle making some as they traded Jesse Winker and Abraham Toro to Milwaukee for Colton Wong. Mr. Mariner, what did you think of this trade?
Well, I mean, now with I like Wong as an infielder, but now with the Giants signing Haniger, which Haniger, listen, Haniger has been on, he was on and off the IL so much over the last 2 years. I'm okay with Haniger leaving, but I love the way I watched Jesse Winker play. I like the way he played. Wong's got a good glove. I think he's gonna add a little bit to the infield.
It'll be interesting. I mean, I like the move. I like Colton Wong. He's a good contact hitter. Has some speed to him. Good fielder, as you said, in the infield. We'll see for Seattle. They had a lot of talent in the outfield and try to shore up the infield as well. Yeah, I still think you guys need some pitching.
Yes, I would agree with that.
But most teams need pitching at this point. Other free agent signings. How about Trey Turner? 11 years, $300 million to the Philadelphia Phillies, who are just throwing money out apparently. As again, Taijuan Walker just went for a buttload compared to his talent. I'm sorry, 11 is too much.
Yeah, I think way too many years. But listen, I've got a great job. I will go be the ball boy. I will scrub cleats. You just pay me $1 million a year. I'll do that. I'll do it.
I'll take half of that right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'd even do it for $500,000. Let me be the ball boy. Sit on the sideline.
Yep.
Yeah,
anything.
Sit in the dugout. I'll even scrape your cleats off if you get a piece of gum on them. Seriously, if you're gonna throw money the way that the Philadelphia Phillies are throwing money around, listen, I'm in the wrong game. I need to find something where I can make easy money like that.
Yeah. I was going to make a joke, but I'll do it off air. I know. People are eating dinner right now. That would be bad. Jacob deGrom leaving the Mets, going to the Texas Rangers, who have spent like $1 billion over the last 2 off seasons. It's not worked out for them so far, but maybe with deGrom, 5 years, $185 million. if DeGrom can stay healthy, that is a huge ace for Texas. As you had said with me when this happened, everyone's trying to catch Houston.
Right.
This is a trying to catch Houston move, and having somebody like DeGrom, if you can get the team around them, and they have a lot of talent there right now, get into the postseason and have him as your ace, you can turn a team that had no chance of making the playoffs into a World Series contender really quick.
You say that I with that signing, and then signing Andrew today, or was it today? Or was it
Andrew
yesterday?
Heaney at some point.
That just pushes. I'm thinking that pushes the Mariners back down to the bottom again.
Not the bottom.
I think so. I think
Oakland is in your division, sir.
Oakland will spend some money. I really do. I see them down toward until we get a couple more arms. I think
your team had so much young talent.
But guess what? We're probably going to unload some of it just to get.
Well, if they end up at the bottom,
that's the problem.
Sure, but I don't think the Mariners should worry. I still think they are the second best team in that division. I think the Rangers are inching closer to wild card contention. We'll see, obviously, with the Angels. And you have Trout, you have Ohtani. What else you have at this point? And they continue. They have really not done anything yet in the offseason. Rangers are making moves. Oakland.
Scary what they're making moves.
Oakland is a non-factor at this point. But, yeah, I think there's 3 teams that have playoff potential right now in the AL West. So the Mets lose Jacob deGrom. They replace him with Justin Verlander, 2 years, $86 million, $43 million a year for Justin Verlander. Who got the better end, the Rangers or the Mets?
Wow. I honestly think probably the Rangers. I like deGrom. I just like what he's doing there. I think that's why I said it's scary to see how much they've spent.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Texas has got the better thing. I mean, 5 years and a decent,
it's a chunk.
That's a lot of money.
It's a chunk. I'm worried about deGrom's health for sure.
How old is deGrom?
He's young, but he's banged up all the time. Verlander, even though he's really old and he had Tommy John surgery, he looked fantastic last year, won the Cy Young. Has been fantastic in the regular season, struggles in the postseason. And obviously the Mets are looking to win the World Series. But did you know that their opening rotation?
34. He's 34 years old.
The New York Mets opening rotation on day 1 last year, all 5 of them are gone.
I didn't think about that for a minute.
I saw that today. They're all on different teams now. It's not that they're free agents, and we'll see where they go. They are all on different teams.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And we're only at the winter meetings.
It just started the winter meetings.
Yeah.
And I thought some of these people would be waiting to see what Judge does, and they're just throwing money. Obviously, the Phillies and the Mets weren't looking at Aaron Judge, so they're going to throw money around.
And you and I have talked about this. And now that, and we said it off air a little while ago, with Haniger signing in the Giants, I mean, yes, they're still going to pursue him.
Oh, they are still going all. The Giants are all in on Judge.
So, if you had to name 3 teams, those 3 teams, Giants, Yankees, who would be the other third team of the wild card?
Dallas Cowboys. There's only 2 baseball teams. It's Giants and Yankees. That's it.
You think it's down to just 2 of them?
That's all it is. And reports are that
he was in
the
Tampa
Giants have offered. Well, yeah, he was in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, watching the game. Yeah. I remember
just having a good time.
Yeah.
But the Giants reportedly have offered Judge 9 years, $365 million. And reports came out a little bit after that he agreed. And then they quickly backtracked on those reports. So I don't know if it was announced too early or it started to come out and the Yankees made him go, okay, hold on, or it was just complete misinformation. No one knows. And we're still waiting whether we will hear it tonight or tomorrow or soon. Judge has said that he wants to be signed by the end of winter meetings. So whatever team he signs with can make moves.
Right.
Yankees really have not made any moves. Giants with the Haniger move still making moves. There's some big players still out there, whether it's free agency or the trade market. Brian Reynolds is a fantastic center fielder for Pittsburgh. He's on the market. And I believe both the Giants and the Yankees have been marked as potential trade targets for him. So it all comes down to Judge. And then there's so many other big names that have not moved yet that will go from there. And again, with all these other names, it's just, it's not Judge yet, so I don't care.
It's the Judge watch until
Yeah, Jets resigned Tommy Kahnle. I like Kahnle. I don't care.
Right.
It's not Judge. Once Judge signs, where he goes. I mean, obviously, I'd be very sad if he goes to the Giants, but that's life, and I'm not going to blame him. That's a lot of money. But even if he goes to the Giants, all right, Judge has moved on. I would be able to move on. What are the Yankees going to do now? That's it. So we'll get there. I'm kind of surprised Clayton Kershaw once again signed a 1-year deal with the Dodgers. I know that they have a better chance to win. I've been expecting him to go to the Rangers the last few years. Just, that's where he's from. I figured he'd go home. What a great 1-2 punch that would be, DeGrom and Kershaw. That's a great top of the rotation that sits on your IL half the year. But it's pretty good. Josh Bell ends up with the Guardians, 2 years, $33 million. So that's not bad. Weird move of Cody Bellinger going to the Cubs. It's a 1-year deal, so it's not a big thing. Honestly, I think that's Bellinger going market was not what I was hoping for, because he's kind of had a year or two that have been rough. Go to the Cubs, try to rebuild your career. Maybe in the Windy City, you can get the ball to carry a little bit more. Maybe with the shift going away, your average cannot be 110. And maybe people will try to pay you more next year.
Right.
But
that one was interesting when it came across my phone earlier today. Was that because you look at the the dimensions of Wrigley Field. I think it plays into it a little bit better for him to strike the ball quite well. And I think, I 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year. There's no bad 1-year contract.
No, I would have thought that Chicago would try to get him.
No, because they're still rebuilding.
4 or 5
and honestly, you know what? You can. I mean, yes, at that point you'd probably want to do it for a couple years.
Right.
So then you can say, you have this guy for a few. But now he is a rental piece that come July,
there you go.
come the trade deadline, the Cubs can move.
Right. I didn't think about that.
So I think it's good for all parties involved. Last thing here with baseball, the Hall of Famer Gaylord Perry passed away at 84 due to natural causes. First pitcher to win the Cy Young in both leagues, with the Indians in 72, Padres in 78. 22 seasons, over 300 wins, over 3,500 strikeouts, played for the Giants, Indians, Rangers, Padres, Yankees, Braves, Mariners, and Royals, and had the old spitball.
Still want to get one of his jerseys.
Yep.
Cool.
Which one? Which team?
Yeah, any, mini, money, mo. Probably. I don't know. God, I'd probably say Mariners, because that's where I remember much from. But any jersey would be great. Any jersey there. Let's take a look really quick. I know we don't talk a ton about it. It's still early, a lot early. The NCAA basketball, the men's top 25 right now. Houston still at the top of this one. But with that being said, a lot of the first place voting went different ways. Texas getting a few more votes this week. They're 6-0 and sitting in number 2. Virginia 7-0, sitting number 3. Purdue, who has looked phenomenal playing. We watched them against Gonzaga the other day. Now 9-0, 8-0, and now UConn breaks the top 5. 9-0. How long till UConn finally gets up there and gets some votes? They haven't had any votes yet, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, what I said about the college bowl season this is basketball right now. I don't care about rankings in basketball, because so many teams make the postseason. In college football, it's different,
right?
Because only 4 teams make it, or at this point, only 4 teams make it. Right. It's too early for this. Everyone like freaking out about the way Gonzaga's looking.
Right.
There's not a great game last night against Kent State where they snuck in and came back and won. But their schedule, once again, is Murderers Row. And they are 5-3. All 3 of their games that they've lost are against top teams.
Purdue, Texas, and
Baylor.
Yeah.
So, yes, they have some kinks to work out. But this is actually one of those years where I think playing in the WCC is better for them, because now they'll play weaker competition and hopefully iron those out. And maybe the expectations will be a bit lower for the team. And then they can come back and be that surprise team that they were for so long. Now it's, oh, look at the people that just keep failing and just they can't win the big games. Like, it's Gonzaga. They're small.
Right. And the one team that for me has kind of been everybody's been on a little bit, and yes, they dropped down. They had a big loss, but that was Creighton. I mean, yes, it's still early, like you were saying, huge drop. They're still 6-3, still 6-3.
Oh yeah, and they play a tough schedule.
Yeah, a lot of year left to go. The other part of that is to look at this one is here, Arizona sitting 10 right now. Just one spot with a Pac-12 team. You look on the women's side, there's a few women.
Oh yeah, Stanford at 2 right now. Gonzaga is up to 22 on the women's side. South Carolina continues to just dominate this poll. They always have a great team. Notre Dame as well. They're right now 5th. So it's more top heavy, I think, in the women's side than the men's side. The men's side has become really spread out, especially with the whole one and done rule, and players can move around and create actual teams, and those that aren't quite good enough to make the NBA now have built these great little dynasties going on, while other teams bounce around, and it takes them a while to build things up. We see that with Duke and Kentucky and North Carolina all the time, as they struggle early and then they'll kind of get their footing. That's kind of what's happened with Gonzaga too. They're now a big enough power where they're getting these one and dones, and it's Gonzaga is just a different feel right now than I think what most fans are used to, and it's what you're gonna have to get used to. It's you got so much turnover that it's going to take a little bit for these teams to start clicking a little bit.
Did you watch the game this past week where they played? Where did they? I want to say South Dakota. Is that where they played?
I haven't watched any of it.
So
yet.
Gonzaga played against Baylor, where they played, and the venue was designed after like an old school Indiana type high school, where it's kind of like that bowl feeling.
Okay.
It was kind of cool. Only had like 3,500 for the pull it in, and it was kind of cool to see the venue of what it looked like. Felt like the crowd was right on the court there, so made it feel like a high school game almost. Like
I don't get to watch any of that.
I can see if I can find a picture of it for you.
All right, let's get into the sports that do not get enough airtime. Racing is done for the year. F1 and NASCAR and all that are in their off season. So it is time for...
I play golf. I'm not good at golf. I never got good. I never got a hole-in-one. But I did hit a guy, and that's way more satisfying. You're supposed to yell 4, but I was too busy mumbling. There ain't no way that's going to hit him.
What's funny with you saying that and you playing that clip, I have been hit by a golf ball.
I was there.
I have been hit by, and I still have the indentation on my arm from it.
Kind of an off season right now for golf as well. A couple exhibition tournaments. This is the Tiger Woods one, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. The Hero World Challenge this past week. Victor Hovland defended his title, shot 1,600, shoots a big 8-under on Saturday. Looked like he could not miss. Lots of big names in that tournament this past week. Scotty Scheffler, Cameron Young, Schauffele, Thomas, Morikawa, Finau. So one more tournament this week is the QBE shootout in Naples. That's the Tiger one, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Jason Kokrak is the defending champion, but small amount. And then we hit a 3-week off, I think it is, and they come back on January 6th back into it and hit the schedule hard. I was looking to see if Joel was playing, and I brought up his stats, and I said something to you about that. It's just crazy to think that he's already earned $1.7 million.
Not bad.
In what 9 weeks worth of tournaments.
He's been playing really well. A lot of top 10s.
Right.
He's doing a good job. And we'll see him back on the course in a week or so as they really start ramping up the 2023 season. We're almost to the new year. It's insane. It's going by so fast. Speaking of, we have 3 weeks till the Vista tournament.
Yep.
And things are starting to get placed in for that. And we will have more information on that as it becomes available, and we'll get you all ready for it. I know you're part of the committee. I'm not going to make you spill the beans on here until it starts actually being released and stuff. We won't be.
Hopefully this week.
I don't want to break news unless Taco allows me to break news, because I don't want him to break my kneecaps.
Yeah, I've been finishing up the bracket. With all that being said, let's talk a little bit about who's coming. We do know that Shadle Park is coming, Pendleton is coming, Grangeville girls are coming. Prairie is making their stint back down here again, boys and girls. Lewis and Clarkson and Kellogg coming into town this year, both boys and girls. And again, the team from 8 miles east of here, Lapway Wildcats, will be back, and they got a big game tonight taking on Post Falls.
Post Falls will be a good one. See how they are doing after we get off the air and see how things are going there as well. But that is going to do it for another episode, the 111th episode of the R&R Sports Report. Before we go, Robert, give me one final word.
Excitement. For me, it's excitement. I'm excited to get back into the gym. You know, you're gonna
start working out.
Yeah, we gotta do that too.
Don't talk me into that crap.
No, yeah, but I am excited to get back in the gym. It's time to watch some basketball, high school basketball. Look, excited to see the youth of the Clarkson Bantam girls playing. It's going to be a great season. I'm looking forward to it.
My word is kind of similar, but anticipation. I'm anticipating where Judge is going. That is taking over my mindset until it happens. I'm hoping by tomorrow we will know, which of course, you know what? It's going to happen tomorrow.
No, it's going to happen. It's going to happen tonight. As soon as we...
Well, there you go. Either tonight or tomorrow. So then we have a whole week before we could talk about it. By the way, Lapway is leading Post Falls late third quarter, 51-37.
Yeah, so let's be that close.
I'm trying to switch you some scores. Oh,
not that bad.
The Pullman doesn't have their live feed up.
Oh, yeah. So if
I can do the Lewiston one.
Oh, as I say, they don't. Hound Central, isn't it, on their YouTube?
Yeah,
page?
but I want on NFHS. I just switching through. But that'll do it for us. We will be back next week.
Last one in studio, I think.
Yeah, it should be the last one in studio, and then we will be back doing it from home as the semester ends. Finals week is next week. Luckily, most of mine I'm able to take early, so actually all my schooling will be done before the next show, and then we will see if I'm on the show crying or not. We'll see how the finals go. But for now, a lot of basketball going on.
Really quick, sir? Pullman is up on Lewiston, 47-33, 150 left to go in the third quarter.
I don't like that at all. The Southern Idaho teams gave me too much hope, apparently. But no, hopefully the Bengals can come back. We'll talk all about that next week. But for now, that's Robert. I'm Randy. This is the R&R Sports Report. But for now, we are out.